the Stuard of Viridian Core. In the heart of 2024, a year defined by the race against climate change, Stefan stood at the pinnacle of his creation. He was the CEO of Viridian Core, a company that had pioneered a way to pull carbon from the sky and turn it into clean, humming energy. Stefan wasn't just a businessman. He was a visionary who believed that those with the power to change the world had a sacred duty to protect it. A global initiative called for Stefan to lead a research expedition in the Arctic, requiring him to leave Viridian Core for a year. He needed someone he could trust to hold the line. He chose David, his most promising manager. Stefan handed David a crystalline tablet, the master key to the facility's operations. "Take care of the people and the mission, David," Stefan said firmly. "The world is counting on us." At first, David was the model of diligence. He arrived before the sun rose and left long after the city lights flickered on. He walked the floors, checking the pressure valves of the carbon scrubbers and nodding to the technicians. Under his watch, Viridian Core stayed on track, and the green energy continued to flow into the grid, powering homes and hospitals. But as months passed, the weight of the crown began to change David. The praise from the board of directors went to his head. He moved his office to the top floor and replaced the functional furniture with gold-trimmed mahogany. He started arriving late, distracted by the luxuries his new position afforded him. He began to think the company existed to serve him, rather than he serving the company. The atmosphere at Viridian Core soured. Maya, a lead engineer who had been with Stefan since the beginning, brought David a report showing that maintenance had been neglected to boost quarterly profits. David didn't even look up from his phone. "We're making record numbers, Maya," he snapped. "Stop worrying about the small stuff and get back to work." By the 11th month, the facility was a shadow of its former self. The once bright green tanks were turning a murky brown from lack of filtration. The staff worked in silence, fearful of David's temper. David spent his days hosting lavish lunches for investors, ignoring the fact that the carbon levels in the surrounding city were beginning to spike for the first time in years. Stefan returned unannounced, 3 weeks earlier than expected. He didn't go to the executive suite. He entered through the main lobby. The vertical gardens were wilting, and the air felt heavy and stale. He saw the exhaustion in the eyes of the security guards. He realized that the stewardship he had entrusted to David had been treated as a prize to be consumed, not a responsibility to be honored. Stefan marched into the executive suite. He found David lounging with his feet on the desk, tossing a stress ball against the wall. David jumped, the ball bouncing away as his face turned a ghostly pale. "Stefan, you're early," David stammered, scrambling to stand. Stefan didn't move. He looked at the chaos of the desk and the neglected alerts on the monitors. "To whom much is given, David, much is required," Stefan said, his voice low and steady. "I gave you the heart of this mission, and you let it rot for your own comfort." He took back the crystalline tablet. David tried to argue, but the evidence of his neglect was everywhere. Stefan watched as David gathered his few personal items and walked out the door, his tenure ending in silence. Stefan didn't look for a celebrity manager to replace David. He looked for a servant leader. He promoted Elian, a technician known for his quiet faithfulness and deep knowledge of the systems. Together, they stood before the main reactor as the green glow began to return. "We start today," Stefan said to Elian. "We are the guardians of the future, and we will not fail again."
I gotta be honest, I don't understand, but I gotta be still and trust it's in your hands. The enemy would love for me to give up on you, but you're the one who takes what's dead and makes it bloom. You are faithful, you are